We have risen from the ashes to school the masses. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Scholars of Wrestling Show, episode 476. I'm your man behind the microphone, Scholar Jeff. Joining us this week, as always, first, we've got the OG Undisputed Scholar himself. He is Scholar Tarek. Scholar Tarek, are you ready to go to Berlin?
I am ready to go to Berlin, but first I must go ahead and just take the introductions away from you just for this one fool, because as I said, it was inevitable that Goldie would once again be undisputed. With that, I am now going to introduce to you the new Scholars of Wrestling Heavyweight Champion of the World, the undisputed Scholar Brian. Hello, Scholar Brian. How does it feel to bring Goldie back to the undisputed Scholars?
It feels pretty good. And look, when I have the beef case, it's inevitable. The Scholar of Douchery returns and takes no prisoners. I warned you when I won the beef case, Pete. You were not going to have that title for long. And hey, take heart though. Take heart. Okay, you're not the you're not the worst fashion I did it in. Okay. Scholar Charlie held that thing for 10 minutes. You were there. You saw it. Okay. I let you have it for a whole month.
I don't even think it was that long. What was it,
Even
like
so,
2 weeks, 3 weeks?
ballpark, I think. But all the same, with last but certainly not least, also joining us this week, the one and only Scholar Pete. Scholar Pete, how we feeling coming out of All In and coming into Bash in Berlin?
Thank you, Scholar Jeff, for that marvelous introduction. And again, I'm so sorry that I systematically beat you at All In, which in any hindsight would retain my rightful Scholars Championship. But you know what happens? You know, the craziest thing that happens is Scholar Brian just magically shows up in this episode because he's the Scholar Champion, ducking me for a month. I've been on the show for the last month. Where has Scholar Brian been? Nowhere to be found, lurking with the beef case. Well, let me ask you something, Scholar Brian. You cashed in. Of course, any man would cash in. Any man would be that smart. But what kind of man are you if you don't put up the title right now against me for Berlin?
You know what kind of man I am? I'm a smart one. No, sir.
Well, as long as we're throwing out
Yep.
challenges
However,
here, how about me?
however, what I will do, since I screwed you over so badly,
Gross.
you can put your head back, Jeff. It ain't gonna be you. What I will do, okay, since I screwed you over on an AEW event, okay, what I will do is offer up your rematch at All Out. All in? Which one is it?
No,
All
it's
all
all
out.
out.
All out
It's all
comes
out.
after All In,
all,
Chief.
all out. Yes. I will give you your rematch at All Out if you're not too scared to take it.
Well, let me tell you something, Scholar Brian. I did, in fact, know it was all out. So I'm already ahead of you in that game. I accept your challenge. I will see you at All Out, and I will take back what is rightfully mine, become a two-time Scholar Champion.
Must rebuke on that. You can't take what is rightfully yours when it's mine because I beat you. It's rightfully mine. You're going to have to earn it back.
Let me tell you, I beat Jeff. I beat Jeff.
You did.
You cashed in, sir. You didn't
Hey,
beat me. You cashed it. Let's
don't
be
bring
should
clear.
be
me
proud.
into this. You are
You should be proud of beating him. Okay, you should be. Okay,
Duh.
but it doesn't matter because the cerebral douche over here knows when to take his opportunities. And when you offer it up on a silver platter to me over a group chat, I'm going to take it every time.
I'll see you at All Out, sir. Be ready.
there we have it. We've got our challenge for All Out. But before we get to all that, we've got a lot to cover. First, of course, we've got this weekend's Bash in Berlin that we will be predicting. But before we get to all that, we got to see how we even got here in the first place. We got to do a brief review of AEW All In. So, with that, this was a one hell of a show. Unfortunately, I didn't miss most of the pre-show.
You didn't miss much.
You
Well,
didn't miss
I
it.
did miss I did miss the return of Jamie Hayter. I did not expect her to return on the pre-show, but
That's
still
yeah.
still damn good to see her back. And as
As
far as
soon
the
as
rest of the
Soraya
show,
decided,
yeah.
as soon as Soraya decided to do that open challenge, I knew it was Hater. They're in jolly old England. Who else would have been to come out? It was got to be Jamie Hayter. She looks great, and she did the thing. She beat up Soraya, then she came out on Dynamite and she beat Harley Cameron, and now we can see if we can move her into title pictures. Good stuff.
Yeah, and there was still plenty of really excellent wrestling to be had, as you would expect from a major AEW pay-per-view, especially All In. This one, I know on the group chat we were talking about, okay, this is going to be match of the year. No, this is going to be match of the year. Among all the other good matches on this card, we did get another match of the year contender between Bryan Danielson finally defeating Swerve Strickland to finally become AEW World Champion. Now, I must ask you while you because you brought it up, Brian, what exactly differentiates this from Bryan Danielson's previous match with Will Ospreay? What makes this better in your mind?
Bryan Danielson versus Will Ospreay did not make me emotional. It was it was amazing. It was great, and before All In, this it would have been my match of the year candidate. But the this had everything. This had story. This had the moves. This had Swerve Strickland being crazy. It had Hangman Page come out but not actually be part of the decision. I love that. Okay, he didn't even touch Swerve. I love that. I love that he was still so in Swerve's mind that it screwed him up just enough. And look, when you make me cry, it's good enough for me. Like there is no doubt there is nothing that is going to go on for the rest of the year that is going to overtake that for me. That hit all the boxes. Everything that we talk about in a match, storytelling, crispness of the moves, there was there was no downtime whatsoever. Everything felt completely necessary to be in the match, and I enjoyed it. And it's like I never had any doubt that Bryan Danielson would win, but I'm still wholly invested in the journey of how we got there. And when he wins and he's celebrating with the family and it's going off the air and I've got a tear in my eye, that's all I need. Nothing's going to beat that.
All right, then. How about Scholars Tark and Scholars Pete? What are some other highlights and lowlights that you took away from your viewing experience with All In?
Of course, the new Scholars champion, I must agree with, because it's like I said to you gentlemen last week, it was all about emotion on this card. It was all about those, cheering for your heroes and booing for your villains. And it just it added so much, with the at the end, the Daniel Bryan winning the belt, not losing his career, the MJF Will Ospreay and Will finally getting his just desserts on MJF, and it's just Mercedes Monet, doing her shit that she does. And it's
And the
just,
corgis, probably three of the most adorable corgis I've ever seen in my life.
I mean, I tell you, I thought they were gonna hop out of the wagon.
That
I was like,
one
they're
had
gonna
the
walk
best
into.
timing of just like hopping out of the window right in front of the camera. That was absolutely
She
adorable.
she knew what she was doing. I'll give her that. She knew what she was doing. But it just what all it what that did for me at Wembley was just give you the stories, give you the moments, and that's what I took away from this whole event. It was cheer for your heroes, boo for your villains, but god damn it, are we gonna have some great matches and do some storytelling and make you feel.
How about you, Tarek? Any other major takeaways from All In?
Just give me one quick second.
I'll give you several quick seconds.
Uh,
While you're getting your stuff in order, I was I heard on the negative side, I was heard some criticisms for the Mercedes Monet match versus Britt Baker. Honestly, it didn't strike to me as being a major misstep. To me, it seemed more of a follow that kind of moment where they were going on, I believe, right after Will Ospreay and MJF, which was easily one of the better matches of the night. And that is one position where I don't care who you are, you do not want to be in. Where there's such not only just is the match very good, but in terms of crowd energy, the crowd does need some time to recover after a major match like that. So in my mind, I think the Mercedes Britt Baker match kind of was about as good as it possibly could be. And in my mind anyway, I think the Corgi entrance was so adorable that it did a lot of heavy lifting and cover up what just didn't work. With
Yeah,
that,
that was a problem of placement. That's all that was. That and you could also see that Mercedes Monet was carrying Britt Baker. She really was. Britt Baker had some good moments, but that basically entire match just showed you how good Mercedes Monet can carry a match. It was just in the wrong spot in the card.
and with that, Tarek, are we good to go?
oh yeah, yeah,
All is well?
we're good to go. I do agree with the fact that the Mercedes Monet Britt Baker match was in the wrong place on this card, and that just when you had a dead crowd after the previous match, and just people were us like making the assumption that Britt Baker was uh kind of being dead weight for this match just to try and make Mercedes Monet look bad. And I don't know if that was necessarily true, but it definitely brought the match down for me. That it was just okay. This this is not a game material, especially for their pay-per-view event that's supposed to be their equivalent for WrestleMania. Um one other I'm just gonna get the down stuff in first because there wasn't that many, but they were stuff that kind of was like, okay, it definitely brought points down for me, and that really was something that I brought up before we started recording tonight was the fact that Christian Cage won the casino gauntlet match, and it was less focused on more of like, oh, someone earning their spot, but it was more of just the storyline aspect of once again Luchasaurus, which he came out as, which is kind of surprising for me. It's like Luchasaurus comes out, yet think, oh, is this going to be the moment where Luchasaurus finally breaks free from the Christian Cage chains, especially after what happened in the trios match that started the show. But no, it was just, oh, nope, no, it was just Luchasaurus helping Chris, just there to help Christian win again. And then it's also, it's like, I enjoyed the patriarchy as a unit. So it's like that will eventually lead to their breakup because they've been teasing this breakup for a while now. And there's only so much that you can have Christian basically put Luchasaurus down to a point where it's like, okay, are they actually going to do something with this? And I thought it would have been better in the trios division, especially when the trios division is in kind of a need to have that, like, I guess the bit is the face of that division. I thought the patriarchy was perfect considering their storyline, but to have it center around the inevitable world title match for Christian Cage, I kind of don't want him in the inevitable world title match, even if it is like just a quick match against Danielson, just to fill up time of this whole. Once he loses the world title, he will retire. Maybe that's what they were planning, having Christian Cage be the one to dethrone Danielson. And this is like, okay, well, now you can go be a dad while I'm gonna be the real dad of AEW or whatever. But I'm just wasn't a fan of that result. I wanted them to be focusing more on the trios division because I felt like that would have been better off for that particular group. Let's see. Other
I will
than
say
other
this.
than that,
I will say this about that. I did hear that Christian Cage was supposed to win the one that Will Ospreay won when he first came in. That he was
I
supposed
didn't
to
hear that, so
he was
that's news to me.
he was supposed to win that one until Will Ospreay was brought in, and then Will Ospreay won that one. So apparently they pushed it back to here. I, do, I, I don't like it, but apparently that's what went into it.
I would have accepted that if they actually put some time in building to build for an inevitable win. I mean, shit, we didn't even know he was in the match. I mean, for me, the biggest like, oh my god, what's going on here moment of that
Nigel.
was Nigel McGuinness showing up, which was
Yeah.
awesome.
Yes.
That was great.
I,
I
I
was like, oh my god, that is amazing.
I
Yes,
need
please.
Nigel versus Danielson now. I need it. I need it in my
Exactly.
veins.
Especially with the past commentary of Nigel just shitting all over Danielson in the past. That is just a match that needs to happen.
4D
Um,
chess at its finest.
oh yeah. Well, hopefully that'll be the case and not just a quick cameo thing like Godfather showing up in the Royal Rumble type of ordeal. I don't know why I chose the Godfather cameo. That I don't know.
The point still came across, so regardless of why, it worked.
Uh, the MJF Osprey match was just absolutely amazing. I'm glad they have it go back to the international title. That is their top mid card belt out of all the mid card belts they have. Um, which, like I said last week, this is that match was their first going. Like it was the beginning of their like forever feud, like how Rock and Triple H fought for the Intercontinental Championship in the beginning of their careers, and it'll just keep going, and it'll eventually lead to Osprey MJF World Championship matches in the future. And they absolutely delivered on that one. The Danielson Swerve match was just that was a world championship. I'll even like WrestleMania caliber type main event. I mean, and it made Swerve look like an absolute bigger star than he came into that match. I mean, taking the knee and just be like, was just hysterical. All those, I'm like,
the timing was perfect, and it was, even though I've seen him do that kind of thing before, the way it was done was still caught me by surprise. It was beautifully done.
and like, I guess it all like, well, one thing, I basically shed tears from the opening video package for Danielson showing his career excluding WWE stuff, and just seeing him look at his children and basically having that lead that like basically gave him to will to keep going. Just as a parent, I completely get it, and that just made it even more emotional. And he pretty much had his Kofi WrestleMania 35 moment, celebrating in the ring with his children after winning the world title. And I said it in the chat last night, or yeah, last night. I Of course he's not going to, but I would just love to see him come in with an AEW Eco belt, just for shits and giggles. But he's not that character. We're obviously not going to get. But I love that fan for holding that sign. It got a good chuckle out of me.
Oh yeah.
And overall, this was a really great pay-per-view. I enjoyed the hell out of it, and I'm curious if they're gonna have if All Out is actually going to be able to top it.
I'll tell you what, I do have my doubts given how strong of a show this was, but my expectations are still high. But before All Out time comes, let's put a cap on All In. Gentlemen, what would your final beard rating be for All In?
Oh, it's a go face. In accordance to our AEW champion, the originator of the goat face rating himself. I give this a goat face. This is such an improvement over last year. I actually think the lesser crowd actually helped it because it seemed it seemed louder this year than it did last year. It seemed like everybody was locked in to everything except Mercedes Moné and Britt Baker, which I understand because of where it was. But it just everything was laid out better, everything was built up better, and I do think that All Out is going to have a hard time topping it. Whereas I think All Out last year was the better show. So I think they figured out what went wrong with last year's show. They worked to improve it, and now they have the blueprint for further all-ins going forward. And you get me emotional at any point, and I will give your show a go face. So there it is, go face. Show of the year so far.
All right. Scholar Tarek, what would you give this for a beard rating for All In?
I won't go as far as Brian goes for giving it a go. Well, I'll give the Danielson match. I'll give the Danielson match and the Osprey match a goat face, because both of those matches were just gold wrestling and storytelling. But when it comes to the show as a whole, I'm gonna just give it a solid full beard. You had that Mercedes Moné and Britt Baker. You had that Christian Cage moment that I just feel like is back. If what Brian said is true, and it was meant to be back in the original Gauntlet, there was just no point to bringing it back, because Christian had basically little to no momentum on that. And then I actually remembered the whole thing with the FTW championship of Hook and Chris Jericho. I went in that not giving two shits. I left that match not giving two shits. The only thing I was really hoping for was for them to finally put an end to the FTW championship, because that title is just so pointless and it's holding Hook back. That now we're I was like, oh, hopefully that was him celebrating it with Taz would have been a good bookend to finally retire that championship. But now you're having Roderick Strong going for it, and I'm just going, Jesus Christ, are we still just not doing anything more? Can Hook just go for something else? But apparently not, and it just made it more sour and left a bigger sour taste in my mouth. But it was a great show. I do agree. I don't think All Out is going to top this one, at least this year. I'm going to give it a solid full beard.
All right. And Scholar Pete, what score would you give for All In?
I mean, I echo what Scholar Tark said. It's obviously a full beard. I mean, you had the two classics with Danielson and, of course, with MJF in their respective matches. And like I've said to you boys from the beginning, it's all about that story. Even if we didn't like it, the heels were going to win, the villains were going to win, the good guys, the baby faces. You knew what you were getting, but you got a full beard here. I mean, nothing wrong with it. It's much better. The only thing I know about All Out is I'm going to retain and take back my Scholars of Wrestling Championship, and that's all I'm looking forward for.
You already failed because you said retain.
Yeah,
Let's not get into semantics now. Just to close us out, I was originally vacillating between a full beard and a goat face just because there are so many enjoyable things about this show. Yeah, had its lackluster moments here and there, but virtually every show you're going to see now is going to have that in my mind. But I will join you on a full beard, but it's a very high full beard, like 4.5.
I wanted to do a 4.5 so bad. I was like, is there like a 4.5? Because I feel like it's on the cusp.
The exception. It's very rare that we do like fractions. Otherwise, we would be doing like
2/7 of a point.
We'd be doing like Portnoy scaling, and we don't need that level of specificity. We're just keeping it to the beards, baby. Keeping it to the beards.
A nice long full beard.
Yeah, this slice of pizza is 9.75. Fuck you, Portnoy.
Hey, I will not talk trash about Dave Portnoy. He gave my favorite local spot in town a very good score, so he's okay in my book. We joke, but I dig him.
Oh, he's great in my book. I just need that 9.75. Get out of here with that. Just give it to 10 and move on.
He says rookie score, I say accuracy, but that's neither here nor there. Enough of the pizza scores. We need to get to the real stuff that you came here for, because we got another pay-per-view to discuss and to predict. We got moved to WWE Bash in Berlin. Now, having said that, as we usually do, Brian, as the champion, do you want to take your first pick, or do you want to defer to the next person in line for the first pick?
Hit me with it.
Very good. In that case, the first match I've got scheduled on my lineup sheet here is for the women's tag team championship. We've got Alba Fire and Isla Dawn defending their titles against Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. Brian, who are you going with?
There are two ways you can do this, and it's all based on whether they're going to start breaking up Jade and Bianca right now, or if they're going to wait and try to set that up for WrestleMania. I think they're going to wait and try to set that up for WrestleMania. Alba Fire and Isla Dawn got the win at Clash at the Castle. It was a triple threat match, but they did get the win. I expect Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair to get the titles back here, and they will start sowing the seeds for the breakup that way. Whereas I've heard a bunch of other people saying that they might do that in a loss here. I don't think they're gonna. I don't think they're gonna do it this soon. But them holding the tag team titles again, they'll start doing it around Survivor Series. So I've got them picking up the win.
To be clear, that you're talking about Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill
Yeah.
winning. Okay.
New champions.
All right. I am going to differ. I am going to say that Alba Fire and Isla Dawn retain their titles. I cannot say for sure if we're going to be looking at a breakup of Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill on this particular night. They can do it either way, but either way, I'm going to be putting my money on Alba Fire and Isla Dawn to retain their championships. Pete, your pick up next. Who do you got?
Thank you, Scholar Jeff. It's a shame. Scholar Brian, you should have defended your belt because I do also agree with you. It's going to be Bianca and Jade. I do feel that there will be something that happens, a little moment in the match, nothing major, just a little like, oh, you hit my shoulder blade. What you doing, girl? I feel like there's going to be something like that. But to Scholar Brian's credit, this is an obvious WrestleMania match. You're not going to break them up too soon. Give them the run with the title belts. Get to Survivor Series. Get to the Rumble where things start to get a little bit uneasy. Things get a little bit rough, and then you start to build it, and you have those couple months. But have the girls win the belts again. It's for me a no-brainer. It is Jade and Bianca for the win, and your new tag team women's champions.
Very interesting because after we factored in Charlie's submitted predictions, we actually have a split room here 50-50 for both teams. Tarek, you're the tiebreaker. Alba Fire and Isla Dawn or Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. Which way you going?
Bianca and Cargill. They're basically like, it's like, okay, we gave uh
Alba Fire
okay,
and Isla
Alba
Dawn.
Fire, yeah, them. We gave, that's pretty much simple. That's pretty much giving my reason. We gave them their way to Clash at the Castle, and Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill weren't even the ones pinned in that match. Oh wait, is that right?
Yeah, they were on the outside.
Oh, okay. That's right. Shayna Baszler was pinned, I believe. Typical.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're basic. I don't know why. Like they're just gonna get the titles back, and it's basically gonna go back to where it was before Clash of the Castle. There's not going to be any form of shenanigans in this. It's got to be just a straightforward give it to Jade and Bianca. It's got to be a nice, clean victory.
All right. And with those set in, it's time to move on to our next match. We've got CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre in a strap match. This one, I see CM Punk getting his win back here. I'm going to go with Punk for the win. It's just because he seems like he's due. Pete, it's your pick up next. Who you got between Punk and McIntyre?
I mean, it's obvious. Like you said, it's Punk. You're building for a rubber match. You're probably looking at around. I don't even, I want to say, can you let it go for a couple months and really build it up for Survivor Series? But like I said, this feud is hot, and you can't have Drew go up to, not against Punk. Punk gets his redemption, ties it up. Let's have the rubber match. Let's have a Hell in the Cell. Let's go nuts. Let's go Punjabi prison match. Let's see it.
Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
That's where you lost me. No.
I just remember seeing like the video of like Taker like going through like the WWE warehouse, and you just see him like being like, "Oh, the Punjabi prison match! Like, oh, what a fucking terrible match that was!" Basically, like we used it twice, and both times it was just, why did we bring this match back?
Dark, quick, get us out of here. Punk, McIntyre, which way you going?
Punjabi prison match.
I'm also gonna go with Punk. I was.
For a second there, I thought you were going to be like, I also am going to go with the Punjabi prison match.
Why? I've made it clear in the past how much that match sucks. So
that's why the thought only lasted a second.
Absolutely not.
This one's on me.
I'm also going to go with CM Punk to win. they're gonna go in, win each going into Hell in a Cell at Bad Blood, and yeah, there's nothing really else to say really, other than just there could possibly be that twist of just Drew McIntyre getting another one just because CM Punk stood tall on the go home episode of Raw, but that may also just not be the case. But I just feel like this match is basically for Punk to win. And I mean, especially when they have the stupid touch the four corners to win. So it's just like, oh, you may beat me in that stupid stipulation, but you haven't pinned me. It's something I have over you. And let's see if you really are capable in just the final match to end this feud with Hell in a Cell.
All right, and Brian, it looks like we've got an accord forming. Do we?
We do not. I've got
Interesting.
Drew. I've got Drew McIntyre basically because of what Tarek said. Look, if Punk was getting pinned twice, I'd be like, no, Punk's got to win one. But I'm like, he's not getting pinned. He got pinned through bullshit means the first time. If Drew McIntyre wins via bull, heels win strap matches all the time because you have that trope where the babyface is hitting the turnbuckle and the heel's hitting the turnbuckle right behind him, and they're doing that whole thing, and you have the friendship bracelet now, which is the hook that can stop CM Punk from hitting that last turnbuckle. That's what I'm going with here. Punk's going to be going for the last turnbuckle. Drew's going to take off the friendship bracelet, place it on the ground. Punk's not going to be able to. The way that Punk has handled this friendship bracelet situation with his wife and his dog's name on it, he's going to go for the friendship bracelet instead of the turnbuckle, and Drew McIntyre is going to take that opportunity to win. Bullshit means CM Punk doesn't get pinned. Now we have impetus for a Hell in a Cell match where CM Punk is now in complete control of his mind space because he has that bracelet back, and that's when he gets the clean pin. CM
All
Punk
right.
can't get a clean pin here. It can't win clean here and then go into a Hell in a Cell match.
Let me tell you
He's
something,
got to have a
Scholar Brian.
reason. He's got to have a reason to want to be in a Hell in a Cell match. So if Drew McIntyre fucks him over again, a second time, okay, we're in now. That's where I'm going with it. I've got Drew McIntyre to get a bullshit win the way that Drew McIntyre does and will. And we do not have an accord.
I mean, you sound so confident, so I don't understand why you just don't put up the belt right now. If you're
Because
so
I'm
confident in
smart.
Drew McIntyre winning, I mean, put up the belt right now. I mean,
Because I'm a smart man.
Oh, believe me, there'll be enough time for 4D chess. But even so, we still have more wrestling to predict. And the next match we've got is a intergender tag team match. We've got Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley, who are apparently calling themselves the Terror
Terror
Twins.
Twins. They're fucking like
Yeah.
16 years apart. That's not a twin.
Yeah, versus the team of Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan. The throwdown's happening, and Pete, you're up next. Which way you going?
I mean, of all these matches on this card, I mean, this is obviously which way can it go, which way you feeling. The question is, what's the right answer for this feud? And the right answer is, of course, Dom and Liv Morgan for the win. Sketchiness indeed factors in because the Terror Twins are going to realize they're not really twins.
They'll get
And,
back their 23andMe and realize something's amiss.
and then they'll go in the bag and demand that Punjabi prison match.
Stop.
Rhea
Stop
Ripley versus Damian Priest at a Punjabi prison.
I mean, it
Why
writes
Rhea
itself, gentlemen.
And
It
you're
writes
making
itself.
you're making Brian go crazy. He just said Rhea Ripley versus Damian Priest in a Punjabi
No,
prison match.
I'm not going
That's how
crazy. I'm
badly
just
they
going off of
lose.
his I'm just going off of his premise. They realize they're not twins. They turn on each other, and here we are.
What
I
is
mean,
going
it's a
on?
match we haven't seen in years. Get the people
And
excited.
hopefully we'll never see again.
But in all seriousness, Dom and Liv, I think shenanigans happen, but I think they get the win. You got to keep this Judgment Day looking strong. What is different from the original Judgment Day? Why is Mommy and fucking Damian Priest? You need to make them chase just a little bit more. I feel, in my opinion, this was a hard one for me, but Dom and Liv for the win.
All right, Tarek, you're up next. Which way you going?
Well, one thing I think this is opening the show. I think this match will open Bash in Berlin, and I think we're going to have the visual of Rhea Ripley hitting a riptide on Dominic Mysterio and winning the match. That's how I think that this match is going to go. I'm going to pick the Terror Twins to win.
All right.
Quick and to the point.
All right. Brian, you're up next. Which way you going?
I agree with my prospective challenger because you still need to build up Finn Balor versus Damian Priest because that's coming. And that's how this is going to end. Finn Balor is going to take out Damian Priest. I do think that Rhea Ripley is going to hit a riptide on Dominic Mysterio, but I've got Liv Morgan pinning Rhea Ripley because I've got at Bad Blood or in the near future after that, I've got Finn Balor versus Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley beating Liv Morgan for the title. And in order to get there, you need to have Liv Morgan beat Rhea Ripley again. And you need Finn Balor to cost Damian Priest this match. So there you go. And I
Very
don't think this opens
interesting.
the show. I think one of the title matches opens the show.
This is very interesting because we've got another split room among the scholars. That being said, I'm going to go with Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan
Welcome to the
because
side of right.
because ultimately, I don't know how we're going to get there. I don't know what the timeline is, but I think the final result is going to be at a major pay-per-view, Dominic Mysterio versus Rhea Ripley at some point. But as you listed off, there's other feuds, other combinations that need to happen first. And I think at this stage in the game, it's going to be Dominic and Liv picking up the win. But now we've got the next match on the card, which in my estimation is going to be Cody Rhodes defending the WWE Championship against Kevin Owens. Tarek, it's you're up next. What do you got?
I think I'm just gonna make these quick and to the point. I'm picking Cody Rhodes. This is gonna be the first of many matches between these two, just because we're gonna just see that rematch of like we got the old Kevin Owens back, the prize fighter. We're gonna get that good hint here, and then we're gonna get a real one later down the line. It's gonna this is all basically continuing the lead up to the inevitable Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton. I don't know if this that pretty much gives a spoiler on how I think the other world title match is
Let's
gonna
face
go.
it, everybody thinks that. It's a spoiler, but it's true.
All right. Brian, you're up next. Which way you going?
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's obvious that you're going to have Cody Rhodes win here. The main thing is how you get there and how you build up Kevin Owens for after. Because obviously we're getting the prize fighter back. It's just a question of how you're going to do it. And I think that what's going to happen is obviously you have Cody Rhodes win in a hard fought match. Cody Rhodes is going to try to do his handshake thing, and Kevin Owens is going to blow him off. And that's going to be the beginning. And at some point, we're going to get apron power bombs. And that'll be the return of the prize fighter. But this is one of those matches with a very obvious result. What is going to matter is how you get there.
I am also going to agree. This is definitely Cody, the beginnings of a feud, but I don't think Cody Rhodes is definitely losing anything anytime soon. Pete, do we have an accord?
You certainly do, gentlemen. I mean, this is, and it's going to go with my next pick. This is just making your champions look good while telling story. I feel like you gentlemen said, I'm echoing what you said. There's going to be matches with Kevin Owens, but there's some shady shit. I don't know if he's not going to shake his hand. I think there's going to be some kind of shenanigans where the memo is going to go to Cody Rhodes. Who can you trust? Which again brings us to our future Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes. Who can we trust? Who our friends are? Angle to make Cody a little bit on ease. But I think Cody for the win and to retain, of course.
And with that, that finally brings us to the last match on the card. We've got Gunther defending his World Heavyweight Championship in Bash in Berlin and against Randy Orton. Brian, it's your final pick of the evening. Which way you going?
His first title defense. It's Gunther. I don't think I have to go any further than that.
No, you probably don't. And you know what? I'm going to join you on that one. I'm also going to go with Gunther for the win. Pete.
It's going to be a great match. Gunther for the win.
And last but certainly not least, Tarek, take us home. Gush about your boy.
Randy Orton.
Imagine that.
Of course, it's not going to be Randy Orton. Of course, it's going to be the Ring General. Of course, it's going to be Gunther winning. Of course, he's going to just continue showing how awesome he is. This is gonna main event the show.
Yep.
Oh, and it's gonna be amazing.
A smile on Scholar Tarek's face. He's so ready for that match.
Love it.
He's got everything. He's gotten everything he's wanted. Gunther has one of the biggest prizes in the company, and he's in the main event in Berlin. Everything's great.
Cloud 9 for me, baby. Cloud 9.
Hey, it is on East Coast time where we're located. It is going to be an afternoon show. Well, I'm pretty sure there was a song about that, Afternoon Delight. I think it's going to be some Afternoon Delight in Berlin.
It's going to be Afternoon Delight here at my house.
Get the towels
Either
ready.
way, everybody wins.
Of course, they're obviously going to reference the pinfall that happened at King of the Ring. They're gonna play that somewhere in this match, but it's not. It doesn't matter. It's the result's gonna be the same. Gunther is gonna win, hands down, hands down.
All right. And with all of those predictions in, those are our predictions for Bash in Berlin 2024. But now is a time where we bring it back over to you, our fellow fans. We want to know what you think. Who do you think is going to walk away with a win from Berlin? I didn't even mean to make that a rhyme, but here we are. No matter what you think, let us know all across the internet, YouTube comments, Facebook posts, the whole 9 yards. But if you want to join in the conversation personally, you can always join us on Twitter. And Tarek, where can they find you?
You can find me at the Avatar.
And Scholar Brian, where can they reach you?
You can find me in my dark corner, ready to crush some dreams at Atomic Beanpole.
And Scholar Pete, where can they find you?
Find me at beating Scholar Brian's ass it all out on
Wait,
Twitter.
what?
No.
You can find
That's
me.
not at.
You can find me at Improv Pete over on the Twitter machine.
And you can join in the conversation with me at I'm Robbie Rage. And for all of these relevant social media links and much, much more, check out the description below for our link tree. That's linktree/Scholars of Wrestling. And with that, I'd say we've got yet another pay-per-view or premium live event to get ready for. And it's going to be all the way in Berlin. We're going to be watching it. We're going to be reviewing it. But you already knew that because you know who we are. We are the Scholars of Wrestling, and you have just been schooled. You're welcome.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
See you all at Bash in Berlin.
Eating